This is Public Policy in Education, Module 1. This PowerPoint is designed to highlight certain points in the chapter and serve as a guide to important understandings from the chapter. However, this PowerPoint will not provide every piece of information you need to know in order to successfully complete this course and internalize your learning. The expectation is that you will read the chapters assigned. Use this PowerPoint as a guide to help you as you preview, then read the chapters. What is policy and why is it important? It is essential that leaders have an understanding of educational policy. We can no longer ignore the process or the people who are the policymakers. So much of policy affects us as leaders and affects the schools and organizations we lead. We must know how it is developed so that we can be involved in the process. According to Fowler, 2012, policy is the dynamic and value-laden process through which a political system handles a public problem. Policies are developed, adopted, and implemented by governments. Who are the governments? The governments include appointed and elected officials at the local, state, and federal levels. Did you realize that public school teachers and public school administrators are part of the government? As leaders, we have to examine all of these so we can be cognizant of the policies that apply to us and that are being developed. Statute law, rules and regulations, court decisions, relevant public budgets, how policy is implemented, and patterns of government action and inaction are all things that must be considered. The education policy environment has changed. Think about the economic changes, demographic changes, and ideological change that has happened even in the past 5 years. As these change, so does the policy environment. Policy issues are controversial problems that a government could reasonably address. Can you think of a controversial problem occurring now? We have to be more knowledgeable about state education policy and how to influence it. We cannot think that if we ignore the issues, they will go away. Lawmakers are going to address policy. How much better it would be if the people who work in education each day gave input into which policies would work better to achieve the goal. These are the stages of the policy process: issue definition, agenda setting, policy formulation, policy adoption, policy implementation, and policy evaluation. We will be learning about each one of these during this course. You might want to go to your textbook and read about each one of these so you can begin to get a basic understanding of each one. So how are school leaders involved in the policy process? They develop policies at the school or district level. They definitely are the ones who implement the policies, whether the policies are made at the school, district, state, or federal levels. School leaders should follow education policy issues because these issues are going to affect the leaders and the organizations. Some ways to follow education policy issues are by reading professional journals and attending professional conferences. Leaders must seek to influence policy. The people who work in education should be the ones influencing education policy. Think about it. How are you personally affected by policies in your place of work? Choose one policy that affected you and think about whether this has been positive or negative or both.